in all our social media, newsletters, and multiple avenues. So if folks come in late or aren't able to make it today, after all, we will still be able to share, and they'll still be able to connect with you and find you. So welcome to our very second community connection event on the environment in honor of Earth Day yesterday, a day late, but here we are. We have 3 great organizations presenting today on all things Earth related, and some that you may not have ever heard of. We have Tracy Volnica from the Denver Botanic Gardens. Woohoo! We have Brianna Gunn and Kelly from the Institute for Economic Solutions, or I'm sorry, Environmental Solutions. Sorry about that. And we have Emery Ditter from Souls for Souls. And I apologize, Kelly's with Souls for Souls too, not Institute for Economics or Environmental Solutions. It's Friday.
Go with it until you asked me about the organization, and I was going to be like, well, actually, I do shoe stuff.
Well, yeah, we'll just do a community. Okay, so who do we have up first? Souls for Souls. Oh, and volunteers, feel free to ask any questions in the chat, or ask out loud as you see fit.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly and Amanda, for having us here today. What an amazing new part of Spark the Change, and a great topic. Just for the logistics, do I just tell you when to advance slide? Okay, cool.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, sounds good. And we're going to watch the video first, so we can launch that. But I'll just start by introducing myself. So again, I'm Emery Dinner, and I work for a nonprofit called Souls for Souls, and we're actually based in Nashville. So my colleague Kelly Modena is actually in Nashville, and I am the solopreneur here in Colorado. So I'm a native and now run our Denver kind of chapter in a way. And in essence, we collect gently worn shoes to create opportunity. We also collect clothing, just not at the Colorado location. So it's a little misnomer, but I'll let the video talk a little bit about our sustainability efforts and then go into more of our impact. So we'll start with a video.
Okay, can you see the video screen? Oh no, where did it go? Oh no, sorry, I am not sure what happened with there. Let me try that again.
And it does have sound. I don't know if you have to click the little sound button.
I think it should be. Okay, let's try it now. Can you hear it?
Thank you so much. I'll let you get back to. It's so hard with the Zoom. I feel like the toolbar always is in the wrong spot. I don't understand how that doesn't move, but it doesn't. Anyway, thanks so much. I hope that gave you a little bit of an overview of our sustainability impact and just part of our mission. I will just go into the basic part of our mission. So I'll let Amanda go to the next slide. So in essence, we collect gently worn clothing and shoes to create opportunity. And we really do that in two different ways. We have our long-term solution, which really is the international side of the work that we do. So again, we're based in Colorado as well. So we collect shoes here, but we actually collect all over the US, including the world. So there's 7 of us outside Nashville in different states. And then there's actually 3 of us internationally. And we collect gently worn shoes and we create opportunity with women in the developing world. So the women that we work with are mostly in Haiti, Honduras, Guatemala, and Transnistria, which is a country outside of Russia, inside Moldova. And they get to set up their own small shoe stores, sell the shoes, and then create sustainable income for themselves. So what I like to say is that really, in essence, Souls for Souls disrupts the supply chain. So a lot of other organizations do something similar to this, where maybe you donate. We're a little different because instead of going through many different channels, our shoes go directly to the entrepreneurs. So they're really getting the highest quality shoe to sell for the lowest cost, therefore being able to make the most economic impact in their own lives. So since 2006, when Souls for Souls started, we've distributed more than 53 million pairs of shoes to 127 countries in all 50 US states. And that is both in our micro enterprise model, which I just talked about, where we're helping women start their own small business, and in free distribution. So we also work as a liaison between the big shoe brands, so Allbirds, Crocs, Nike, and we help individuals around the world get brand new shoes. So that could be after disaster, and it really started, Souls for Souls really started after the tsunami in Southeast Asia, and then the Haiti earthquake and Katrina. Some shoe executives got together and said, we, need to really step in here. So we still do that today. Or it could be, just a nonprofit that needs a pair of specific like volleyball shoes, maybe. So we really work as the liaison to try to fit all the needs in Colorado and around the world with those new shoes. So out of the 53, I feel like I'm not going to be able to say this number, 53,711,645 pairs of shoes that we've helped keep out of the landfill. That's 1,611,349,350 pounds of carbon dioxide that we've kept from out of the earth from manufacturing new shoes. So by really giving those shoes a second life, we are part of that reuse in the reduce, reuse, recycle model. And then the shoes are processed at our 11 facilities, and then our international partners again resell them for our local entrepreneurs who can sell them to earn a living. Most of our entrepreneurs live on about $1.90 per day, so living in extreme poverty. And the shoes that are on your feet right now could probably sell anywhere between $5 to $10 per pair. So kind of it's a range, just like we need a Payless to a Nordstrom's, our entrepreneurs are going to need a little bit of a variety in their little shoe store. So it's kind of the average of the income that they'll create. And then, a lot of times in the countries that we're working in, they're using those incomes to pay for things like food, shelter, and education. So out of all the pairs we've collected so far, when sold, it would create enough food, shelter, and education for 76,731 families. But just to kind of break that down, just one pair of shoes actually can provide a full week's worth of food for a family in Haiti. So pretty awesome impact. All right, next slide. So here's just more about the micro enterprise process. This is one of our entrepreneurs in Honduras, and actually her kids, she's having a hard time selling right now with everything that's been going on, but 2 of her children have pretty severe disabilities. One has cystic fibrosis and the other one has cerebral palsy. So both of them are homebound. So she really needed a job that she could stay home and really work out of her house. So you'll see her shoe store is just, on her windowsill, which is great. So these are the shoes again that we didn't want and would have gone to the landfill. and they're perfectly great condition still. So she's selling them just directly out of her house and been really successful with her business while she's able to provide for her family, which is incredible. Next slide. And here's just a little bit more of the breakdown of our micro entrepreneurs, kind of similar to what I've said, just kind of step by step how it works. Really, we're always looking for shoe donations. So it's pretty easy, awesome ask, because I think most of us have extra shoes in our closets, even though we're smart consumers. And again, we take all types. So we take high heels to flip-flops to winter boots, and we'll sort those so that certain styles aren't going to go into a community that couldn't use them. Obviously, winter boots are definitely a Colorado thing, and we'll send those mostly to our countries outside of Russia, where it's going to be a little bit colder. And then the women will sort them, clean them. In fact, some of our operations have grown to where there's now maybe a whole store that's created in order to just clean and sort them. And then it creates extra, more jobs in that supply chain before even our entrepreneurs purchase them, which is great. Next slide. Awesome. So free distribution, talked about this a little bit, but we will try to provide brand new shoes to anyone around the world that needs them. So this year alone, we've given out almost 4,000 pairs in Colorado, which is incredible. We try to give us the highest quality shoe that we can give out. We're kind of subject to what the brands can give us. And also brands are particular about redistributing in the US sometimes. So that can be a little tricky, but currently we're running a Souls for Summer program where every $10 donated will give a brand new pair of shoes to a kiddo in Colorado this summer, which is great. So pretty, $10 can go a long way, which is awesome. And next slide. So really, we have three parts to our mission. It's poverty reduction, gender equality, and for the planet. So keeping these shoes and textiles out of that landfill. Again, only 15% on average are recycled or are reused. The rest just end up in the landfill. Shoes are hard to recycle. We work on that. We're not a recycling company, but we do try to we're always trying to reach out to see what companies could recycle the different textiles that shoes are made out of. It's pretty tricky, but we're always looking for that solution and trying to make sure that the least amount end up in the landfill until they're fully loved. Yeah. And next slide. This is Jeanette. She is one of our longtime entrepreneurs. And again, similar to the other example, she's been able to truly change her life through the micro enterprise model. So without the shoes going into her community, she really was at the end kind of her rope, and then she was able to get that opportunity to sell shoes and truly has changed her life. She's even built her own house in Haiti, where most women do not own property. So just absolutely phenomenal accomplishment through the shoes. Next slide. I know I'm running short on time, so I'm trying to be conscious. We also partner with big brands like VF Corporation. Some of you know they just moved here. So we're working with North Face and Ultra Running, some of their other brands to be that reuse organization. So they have something called Close the Loop, where you can donate gently worn clothes right now to any of their stores, and then they end up sending them to us, and then we work with that micro enterprise model with the clothing as well. So pretty great. And next slide. So we have some specialty programs like for women, because really we're working a lot with women for the planet, which is really something we promote during Earth Day. And then For Every Kid is a specialty program that we're actually launching to try to provide a brand new pair of high-end running shoes to every student experiencing homelessness in the US. So 1.5 million kids experiencing homelessness. We're really working with Nike, Adidas, some of those big brands to provide brand new shoes for them, which is great. Always looking for sponsors for that as well. And next slide. Yeah, so partnering with us, this is the last. So really donating shoes. So there's about 100 stores around Denver Metro that collect for us. So you can go to our website and just type in your zip code and see where you can donate 12 or less pairs. If you want to do more of a shoe drive, that's even a bigger way to get involved. So that's, asking your neighborhood to drop them off at your house, whether you are willing to collect. My husband said, nope, our house is not a shoe collection site, but and Yeah, so getting that shoe drive or civic group that you're involved in, it's a great way for schools to get involved. It's really a low barrier. So that's a great way to get involved. Volunteering at the warehouse. I'm here at the warehouse right now with all the shoes. You can always volunteer here or virtually. Cause marketing, we're always looking for brands who want to do a little kickback for us or to fundraise for us, which are all great ways to get involved. Yeah, and I think that was the last slide. Great question, Caitlin. What do you consider gently used? We like to use the word or the language gently worn just so that people are a little more considerate of what they do donate. We will take any, well, I always say we'll take everything and then we will decide if it's too worn out. So go ahead and just throw it in. We'll decide if it's too worn out. Again, we're trying to keep a lot of things out of the landfill. So we want to really, have that eye on the shoe in order to know. If it's not a shoe though anymore, it's probably lived its life. Yeah. All right. Last slide. This is just kind of over our overall impact of how much we've kept out of the landfill, economic impact to those individuals who sell the shoes, and human impact. That's great. And I'll put our, I have to move my screen around, but I'll put our website in the chat. I think it was on the last page, but I'll just put it there and you can go there for more information, or you can email me and I'll also put that in the chat, and we would love to partner with any of you. So yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks, Emery. And will you talk just briefly about, you have, I think 4 or 5 volunteer opportunities posted on our site.
Oh, yes.
Volunteer.
Yeah, so most of those are similar to what I just mentioned, which is hosting a shoe drive. And again, that's a great opportunity, especially if you're staying socially distant. It's completely on your own. So we provide tons of marketing materials. I'm here to support you, but it's really just getting your community engaged. So it's a way for you to be kind of the hero in that story of asking more people to donate shoes. So that's a great way. We're always looking for people to be our shoe chauffeurs, which means they run around the city and not run, but drive and pick up shoes from all the stores that collect. So a lot of the Runner's Roost, Dardano's, a lot of Orange Theories collect for us. So you can create your own pickup route. And that really is also independent, which is fabulous. Then we also load a semi truck with all the shoes about every 2 to 3 months. And that's more of a community event. Now that COVID's a little less, we are having, 10 to 15 people, maybe even 20 come together. So that's a great employee engagement activity, or you can actually come just volunteer here in the warehouse. So those are all awesome activities. I think there might be 1 or 2 more on there, which is great. We're also looking for actual donations of gifts in kind of paint pens, because we have some great shoes that are kind of more of a plain croc bob type of shoe, and we want the kids to be able to really decorate their shoes. So we're looking for those gifts as well.
Thank you, Emery. And do you take like baby size shoes as well?
Yes, I had some volunteers here today that found a really cute little Converse. It was so cute. So yeah, so every size, so from teeny tiny to as big as, a basketball player. Especially those larger sizes actually are harder to fulfill some of our orders. So those are always great too, if you have a bigger sized foot. But yeah, all sizes, all styles. And we make donating as easy as possible. If you're not located in Colorado or you have family members outside, we also have free shipping through Zappos. So we have a partnership with Zappos and they'll pay for any of our shipping to our big warehouse in Alabama. So you can always use that as well. And I can walk you through all of that.
Great, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions?
Hi, Emery, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm down in the Pueblo area, and I know you mentioned that you have a lot of locations in Denver, but are you able to search on your website for drop-off locations in other cities in Colorado?
Yes, you are. Unfortunately, I don't have any locations yet in Pueblo, but if you want to be the champion of that, I would totally help you out. Yeah, we're really always looking to expand into all of Colorado. We want to be accessible everywhere. It is just me as a solopreneur, so I can't always be everywhere, but I'm always looking for individuals who, really want to champion that work. So that'd be great.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and you're not like on the hook. You can also just donate your shoes, and that's great too.
Thank you so much, Emery. If anyone else has any other questions, please leave them in the chat and we can make sure that Emery gets them at the end, and we will move on to our next presenter. which is Tracy with the Denver Botanic Gardens.
Awesome. Emery, that was really cool. I have to admit, I didn't know about Souls for Souls before today. So I loved your presentation. I'm really excited. And it was a fun act to follow. My presentation isn't as flashy and colorful, and I don't have a video, but hopefully I have some good information to share too. So hi, everybody. I'm Tracy Volnicka. I'm with the Denver Botanic Gardens. I'm the volunteer services manager there. So I have kind of a brief presentation about what we do in some of our locations, and then really focused on our volunteer opportunities. So I have to let you all know too that the gardens, we, over the past year, as with a lot of our organizations, right, we are just starting to kind of re-energize, I guess, or rebuild our volunteer program. We've had our ongoing volunteers plug in throughout the course of this past year, but right now this is kind of like our first. We have an event coming up that I'll share with you all in a few minutes in terms of volunteer opportunities, but this is kind of our first entree into welcoming new volunteers back on site. So we're really excited about that. So this first slide, I wanted to share what our mission is at Denver Botanic Gardens. It's to connect people with plants, especially plants from the Rocky Mountain region and similar regions around the world, providing delight and enlightenment to everyone. One thing that the Gardens really takes to heart and has taken to heart over the past year is that we hope that our locations are a place of healing and respite for folks throughout the state of Colorado, in the Denver metro area, and then hopefully nationally and internationally as well, for people to come and really enjoy some of that piece of nature and connect to sustainability and biodiversity and things like that. So that's something that we're really about, and our volunteers really are an extension of that for us in terms of really supporting our mission and making that happen to connect people with plants. All right, next slide. So just a quick breakdown. I know that before I started working at the Gardens a little over a year ago, I didn't realize we had 4 different places that we plug into as part of the garden system. So we do have our main York Street location, which is kind of on the outside of downtown Denver. We also have a Chatfield Farms location, which is out at C470 in Wadsworth. And that's definitely a farm. It's a working farm. We have a community supported agriculture out there. We do have some farm animals as well. It's also a very snazzy wedding venue, but lots of fun stuff happening out there too. And then we also partner with the City of Aurora out at the Plains Conservation Center. We do some educational programming out there. And then we also have volunteers up at Mount Goliath as well. So we have some docents that actually do interpretation, especially during the short but amazing wildflower season that happens up on Mount Goliath. So we have volunteers, many volunteer opportunities at all 4 of those locations. And I apologize, I'm not watching the chat or anything. So if questions pop up, or if people just want to shout out and interrupt me, feel free to do that. All right, go ahead, keep clicking, Amanda. I'm not doing a good job of telling you when to click through, I'm sorry. So we have 2 different types of volunteers. We have our special event volunteers and then our ongoing volunteers. So right now we are, well, over the past year, we've really focused on having our ongoing volunteers plug in. And those are really folks who, both groups are passionate volunteer groups, right? But the ongoing group are folks who are really plugged into every area of our operations. And usually our ongoing folks, they go through a little bit more of a different onboarding process with us and are really well integrated to really specific roles throughout the organization. So we have horticulture volunteers, guest engagement type of volunteers, so our ambassadors, education volunteers, docents, research volunteers, lots and lots of folks. Something else that the Gardens does is we have really large special events that happen at the Gardens, and our special events are really reliant on volunteers to support those events. So to help us, we have a spring plant sale coming up, which I'll chat a little bit more about right now, that we really need volunteers for. And part of that role is, it's a special event volunteer role, and you are almost like a shopper at Whole Foods, right? Shopping for people for plants. So people will do an online order for plants to be able to bring those plant connections to their home, right? Or to plant those plants on their own time. And our volunteers get to get an order form and then pick those plants for someone and create that order for someone to then pick up. So it's a lot of on your feet time, but it is outdoors, learning a lot about plants and interacting with people who care about plants and spreading that joy, which is fun. I'm trying to go fast because I'm trying to be conscious of time. So stop me if you have questions. All right, go ahead, Amanda. So I chatted about this a little bit, but we do have, you can see some pictures here, and these are pre-COVID, right? So no one's wearing masks. Masks are required at the gardens. Quick reminder about that. I have to say that. But here's one of our rock star volunteers, Dana, in that red shirt. She is she's at an ambassador position. So at York Street, again, we have a lot of really great hands-on volunteer opportunities for you to interact with the guest side of things, as well as if you're more of a plant person, we have lots of opportunities to get your hands in the dirt and work with plants as well. All right, next slide. Chatfield Farms, I mentioned this one a little bit. This is one of our amazing horticulturists, Jen Trunts. So we have, again, horticulture volunteers out at Chatfield. Chatfield's focus is really on native plants. So it's a little bit more wild looking, I would say, out at Chatfield, but it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful place. There's a riparian zone there as well. And then there's also a working farm. So we do have volunteers who might potentially be really interested in food security and food issues. And agriculture. So that's a huge part of what happens out at Chatfield. All right, so how do you get involved? We have an interest form on our website. It is right now called an interest form. That's kind of our placeholder for what was formerly known as our application, because again, we're kind of restarting things. So if you complete that interest form, or anyone that you know of that's interested in volunteering completes that interest form, it populates on our database, and we'll get all of your information, and then we'll reach out to you to be able to sign up. But that's what really starts the ball rolling for you to be able to sign up for something like a special event. And then once we restart our more formal orientation and onboarding process, we'll plug you into that as well. Don't worry if you're sitting kind of in limbo, we will bug you. We'll reach out to you and make sure you can plug in and work with us. The spring plant sale is the biggest thing on our plate right now. We have several hundred volunteer shifts that we're trying to fill for that. And again, that order picking and packing is what we're excited to do. And let me tell you, I've done it twice over the past year, and it's super fun. You learn a lot about plants. I'm fairly enthusiastic, but it's fun to be out there and just discover what plants are out there that are available for you to buy and then plant in your own home gardens. So I have the website link there for those, for more information about our programs. Oh yeah, I'll put the link in the chat for sure. Good point, Emery, thank you. And then best way to get a hold of me, so my personal email, and then we have a general volunteer email for more information at the Botanic Gardens as well. All right, how am I doing on time? I think that's it for me. I might have another slide that says questions. There you go. Hopefully we don't get more snow. So hopefully that picture is not leading to that.
That's awesome. Emery just said that she has a work volunteer day on May 5th, so she'll be signing up. That's awesome. Hooray, good connections.
Oh no.
Thank you, Tracy. That's wonderful. Anybody else have any questions?
Tracy, I was going to ask, do you have any other franchises or affiliations outside of Colorado? I'm sorry if I missed that, if you said it.
No, good point. We don't. So we are part of a network. There's an American Public Gardens Association, and we're part of that association, but we are a standalone gardens here in Denver. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. We have Cheekwood Botanical Gardens here. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
And it's amazing, but I don't know if they do volunteers, but I'll check it out.
I hope so.
Surely. That's a good volunteer gig for my daughters. So I'll check it out. You inspired me. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. How old is your daughter?
I have two. I have a 6 and an 8-year-old.
Oh, fun. Because I realized I forgot to mention that we have a teen volunteer program as well. And applications are online right now for that teen volunteer program. They're doing a few days, but that's another aspect of what we do too. So we have adult volunteer programs, and then we do offer teen volunteer programs too.
And Tracy, we also have a question in the chat. What is the time commitment kind of look like for ongoing volunteers?
It's a really great question, Steve. Thanks for asking. So we're really flexible and very open-ended. So and over the past year, things have kind of been up in the air. So pre-COVID, we said 16 hours. So it was pretty, it was very, I feel like that's pretty reasonable, right? So yeah.
Is that 16 hours a month, 16 hours a year?
Good question. Good question.
16 hours a day.
A year. But I would say the majority of our ongoing volunteers meet that commitment, right? And you have a lot of different ways to be able to meet it. So if you do become an ongoing volunteer with us, you can meet those hours through special events as well. So lots of opportunities to make it all happen and come together for you. Okay.
Great. Any other questions? right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy. That was great. And your presentation was beautiful. I love all those photos. Those are really neat.
It's easy to do when you have an amazing backdrop. Our horticulturalists are amazing. They're the stars of the show every time, for sure.
Mhm.
I take no credit for the flowers, for sure.
I can't wait to get back down there with our kids. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, Brianna, please take the floor. The Institute for Environmental Services.
All right, thanks all. And I'm standing in today. My name is Brianna Gunn. I'm actually the head of our board for IES. Our interim board president, as well as some of the staff members, couldn't join today, but Caitlin's on. So if there's any questions that come up, apparently she could probably answer them better than I have. I've been part of the organization for a little over 2 years. And really joined because I'm an engineer and I have a high interest in the environment and making sure that we're doing the right things in Colorado and spreading the right information about what we can be doing to help provide environmental solutions. So if you can go to the first slide, that'd be great. All right. So I'm not sure that a lot of people are very familiar with IES, so really thank you for this opportunity. IES is the Institute for Environmental Solutions, and it was developed actually out of a nonprofit that came across, I think, in like the 80s and 90s to help deal with the brown cloud in Colorado. And it was basically developed as coming out of that as a way to look at what are the potential environmental solutions or issues that we have in Colorado around water, around waste, and what are some potential solutions that we can provide to people to do that are low cost and easily amenable. And a lot of the work that the organization does is based on grants and things that are available, but it's working with communities, working with schools, working with local neighborhoods to really identify issues and then provide solutions. So as I said, the vision is really to develop ways of dealing with complex problems to everyday activities. And our mission is really around identifying and delivering those scientific solutions that can help our health and environment. So we're looking at what are those challenges and opportunities, what are cost-effective ways to implement solutions, and then really working in a really organic way with communities, agencies, and organizations to help them understand what they can be doing, and then really demonstrating that those solutions work. And I do not have as pretty of slides as everyone else did. I was like, oh, I should have put up, we do a lot of work with kids. So we do a lot of work with schools and different organizations. And there's a lot of great pictures and videos on our website with that work with kids. And I know people love to see that. Those are the best activities that I like to do, where we go out and we're doing activities specifically with kids. We also work with other types of organizations out there, really just to spread knowledge around what exists. Next slide. So there's two main key projects that we really have ongoing right now. One is called the Tree Project, and one is the Chemical Footprint Project. And I just wanted to highlight each of them so people can kind of get an idea of what they mean. So the Tree Project is exactly what it sounds like. It's really identifying those areas where we can improve what's happening. Either that's planting trees or other types of species of plants that can have carbon sequestration or help improve riparian areas. And different things. It's really dependent on the need for the area, as well as the potential grants, I think, that exist and what the neighborhood really wants to do. But it's a project where we've gone out in some specific areas, and I have two highlighted at the bottom. One is in Wheat Ridge along the Greenbelt and in Sheridan as well. And we're really working with those areas to enrich what they have. And then as part of that, there's other opportunities to work with students and other programs. So we work with a local school as part of the Tree Project, where we engage the kids and we really teach them about why we're planting what we're specifically planting, what they can do around the environment, how they can help restore it. And then we do a lot of work with the communities to help maintain what gets developed and planted. One of the issues that I think we've had historically is sometimes there's damage of what's out there and what gets planted and put in place over time. So it's really important, I think, as part of the project to really engage with those community members to tell them why we're doing it and how that really helps support environmental improvements in their areas. So we do a number of activities that way. The Tree Project normally would do a lot of outdoor activities over the year. During COVID, that really didn't happen. So they did a lot of virtual workshops, which was really helpful. So they work with schools and others to do some virtual workshops to help people understand. But the team is really excited this summer to be able to get out and be doing work on the ground again. So the next slide. So the other program is the Chemical Footprint Project, and this is really founded on the idea that there are some chemicals that are in the everyday products that we use that get into our water resources that are not good. So it's really about identifying what those are, developing information, guidelines, and literature around that, and then helping provide that information out to the communities and others so that they understand what it is. This group has developed kind of a guideline for what are those contaminants, what are those potential things we should be concerned with, and then what are some alternative things that you can do to not have those. So that's things like in sunscreen, things like in antibacterial wipes, and all that stuff is on our website to do. And we also do workshops around that. This is also a big program for interns or people within universities that can come and really do this as part of a project that they have to really get a better understanding of what those potential impacts are. We've also done some workshops with local businesses and others to really get a better understanding of what their impact is and what they can be doing differently. Next slide. So we have a number of things that are volunteer opportunities, and I was really happy when Kelly reached out. One thing is that our long-term executive director retired last year, so we've been working with an interim director. And I'm calling it volunteer because we're a pretty small organization and the amount of money that's paid in it is pretty minimal, but we really would like somebody that is really interested in helping support and lead IES as we transition into the future. We have a lot of growth opportunities to expand out of the areas that we're working in, and we're working on a strategic plan as a board, and it would be great to get somebody on to help support that. As I mentioned, we have a lot of interns that work for us. So both on the tree and chemical footprint projects, people will come intern at universities and participate in the programs. And it's a really good work experience for them. It's a really good first job for them to get an understanding of what is it like to work in the industry, but then also get to participate in fun things that a nonprofit does as well. Another big part of our program is steering committees. And those steering committees are really technical people that volunteer their time to help guide what the chemical footprint and the tree project should be doing. And those are really helpful too. And a part of that is tree stewards. So tree stewards are those people in the community that basically volunteer their time to go out and make sure that the work that we have been done stays in place, or that things get watered or things get weeded. And they're really important to us maintaining the areas that we've improved. And the last is that we're always looking for board members to help support. And this is people that really are just interested in what's going on in the environment in Colorado, how can they help support and protect it, and then engaging in everything that the organization is doing. So, and I can copy this into the chat as well, but there's a lot of information on our website about either work that we've done historically or work that we're planning to do in the future. And I know that you put my name on the other slide as a contact, which is fine. People can do that. Our general contact is the solutions@i4es.org, where people can kind of get a good understanding of who we are and provide more information. And I would say if you're interested in volunteering, that's probably a better way to get a hold of us than the other. I do not have an organizational email. I think that might be it. Oh, sorry. The other thing that we're doing, upcoming events. So I think Emery mentioned it too, but we are participating in the virtual Earth Day. We also have an event that we're doing this weekend that is just IES members and volunteers, so it's not open to the public, to support Earth Day, which is really supporting one of our existing projects as well. But this one is really great because it's virtual, and it will be another way to really get a good understanding about what IES does and what other opportunities there are, as well as working to support the Women in Sustainability and Friends organization. And that is, I think that's it. Maybe the last slide just has kind of general information. If you want more information about this, our volunteer opportunities also are on Spark the Change, as well as on our website, and you can contact for other information. But really appreciate the opportunity to come talk to you today. It's a little bit hard to get through 20 years of work within 10 minutes, but a lot of great things happening in the organization, and a lot of great things happening with our project teams, et cetera. So thank you to them. I don't know, Caitlin, if there's anything else that you wanted to mention that you're not, that I didn't hit on. We're going to say no. Okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I was saying thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us. That was great. I learned a lot about your organization, and I'm excited. Anybody have any questions?
Not a question, but I also wanted to share that I thought I knew about all the organizations presenting today, but I now realizing I only have like the tip of the iceberg. So it was really great to hear all of this in-depth info about your organizations. Thank you guys for sharing.
I think it's safe to say that even among us presenters and hosts, that there are volunteers in the midst, and in one way or another. I think all of us, there have been connections made. So I'm very excited about that. And I have been taking notes over here. So y'all know I'll be continuing to connect with you on other stuff too, Spark related, but our June Community Connections events is on family and youth opportunities for the summer. And so I'm very excited to hear, because I was staring at my list of organizations to like, where do I even begin? Because I well know that a lot of organizations don't have opportunities for kids to participate or volunteer. And so that's been my career struggle to find opportunities for kids. And so I've taken notes that each of you do, and I'm very excited to have a good start, whether that's representing to a new audience, or whether it's that I will have a whole list of organizations for these families that may attend to be able to contact you. So I'll be in touch. Any other final thoughts or questions?
I guess I have a question for the other kind of members of Spark the Change. How have you guys best utilized the amazing space that Spark the Change provides to increase your volunteer engagement?
Good question.
Yeah, what has been the most helpful and useful?
As in, well, I could take a whole tree of branches there. So let me focus in on in building volunteer engagements and connecting volunteers. What specifically?
Oh, geez, I should have thought about that. I guess I'm always looking to increase corporate engagement, and more that employee engagement piece, where it might be also like a financial match with the volunteer hours. And that's been something I've really struggled to get. We have a ton of families, tons of kids, tons of civic groups, but really getting that employee engagement has been a challenge.
Yes. So what we have the employee volunteer program, and one of the best ways, which you're sort of already doing it right now, to connect is our brand new wish list. So what we have discovered over this last year is not only are volunteers not being able to, organizations aren't able to use their volunteers as they normally would, we haven't been able to do our programs with our corporate or smaller business programs, where they would come for a team building employee volunteer day and beautify a school's playground, or another nonprofit's media room, whatever it is. We haven't been able to do that. And that has dropped off considerably, even though we still have those connections, and the employees are still wanting to get connected, and obviously the nonprofits need them. So the wish list is half of our answer to that, that we can, by posting your wishes on the wish list, we connect with not only volunteers, but also our business partners that can say, do your volunteers want to get together and do this drive for shoes? Do they want to get together? And for example, at Dinosaur Ridge, their wish was 3 propane heaters for outdoor their outdoor work, which when I originally imagined the wish list, I didn't ever think propane heaters would be a part of it, but who knew? And that's something that a corporation could probably easily take care of. And as well as it's an outdoor event to be able to go out and help. So there's, that's currently what we're hoping to be our door back to our business partners.
Maybe Kelly too, there are a few organizations in Denver that do days of service too. Emery, so like we participate in Excel's Day for Service, and DaVita does kind of an overall day for service as well, so that you, where they bring in nonprofits and kind of have a similar goal that they work with and help support. So that might be something else that exists.
Thank you, Rihanna. Yes.
I'd also like to share really quickly about CSR Solutions of Colorado. So that is something we provide in partnership with Community Shares. And the website for that is csrsolutionsco.org. I'll put it in the chat. But each year they recognize 50 corporate companies in Colorado who are specifically dedicated to civic engagement work. So that would be a great place to start if you're looking for large corporations to kind of collaborate and partner with. I'll also share a contact for Brooks Bryant, who's one of our colleagues here at Spark, who is kind of in charge of the CSR and EVP programs for Spark. And he would also be a great contact to connect with. They recently, it's funny that you mentioned DaVita because they just recently did a Harvest Pack event, I want to say back in March, where they had their employees come out and pack meals for low-income families in the Denver area. So I'll put those in the chat.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I've met with Brooks and I just haven't followed up. So thanks. That's a great reminder. And then I guess as a follow-up question to that, I know that Be Civic has now kind of partnered with you guys and with the Colorado Chamber. And I have gone to some B Corp events, even though we're not a B Corp. And I feel like it's kind of insular, even though we kind of are B Corp. But how do you kind of break into that without being a B Corp? Like into that circle? Would that be the same way, like through that CSR program? Because they're probably going to be those high CSR organizations. What's the best way?
So I'm not fully familiar with B Corps in that specific realm, but actually Be Civic is a promotional partner of CSR Solutions of Colorado. So they work closely with Spark and Community Shares to provide CSR. So that may just be the exact same thing.
And I don't have anything to add to that. So, good question. Anybody else? Great questions, Emery. Some other ways that we are, just to add, we are connecting with volunteers and just trying to keep everybody engaged as best they can. We just transitioned 2 months ago now. Our volunteer guide just went out last Tuesday. We used to do an annual volunteer guide, and we used to do print copies with the Denver Voice, and now obviously that's not an option. And so we've now moved to digital, and we are doing a monthly volunteer guide. It's fantastic content. It's a lot that Maddie puts together every month. You do need to be a premium membership to automatically have your organization listed in the guide. However, you can purchase ad space, or you can purchase a listing as a basic member. So that doesn't exclude you. This, we only had, at the very first publication, we only had 160 or so volunteers because it was a brand new mailing list, and over 400 and some opens in our first month. So, and over 50% clicks throughout the guide. So it's a really fantastic publication, but that's also how we're working on connecting with our volunteers, and because everyone wants to do something, especially now more than ever. So here we go.
Kelly, just maybe a quick question/reminder. I know you said at the beginning, where is this recorded presentation going to be? On your website, or how can we get it to also share?
Great. Yes, it will be posted on the Community Connections events page on our website. And we will also share it. We can share it directly with you as well. It'll be in our social media. It'll be in the guide. It'll be in newsletters, kind of everywhere we can stick it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for being a part of it. All right. If there are no other comments or questions, we will leave you to what's looking like a beautiful Friday. Go enjoy the spring. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.